Hey everybody, Sharon Conti here with Val Nasser behind the camera on behalf of the Communications Advisory Committee. And today you are stuck with me as a solo act because I've been asked to provide a video that is going to help us work through some of this paperwork for the upcoming election. So suffice it to say that we all have been mailed a packet of information and I'm going to try to help you understand some of this paperwork in the next 5 minutes. So it'll have a little bit of humor and sarcasm injected, so bear with me as I go through the proxy, the ballot, and the amendment that we are all voting for in October, at the end of October. So we will have an annual membership meeting on Wednesday, October the 26th, 4 p.m., and that will be summarized on one of the papers that you will be receiving, just giving you an agenda as to how they are going to proceed with the meeting, the topics that will be covered. And if you do not plan to be at that meeting physically, we will not see your face, you will not sign in at that meeting, then you are highly encouraged to fill out a proxy. And what this proxy does is validates your participation in the election. It's a little bit different than other proxies you may have filled out. This proxy needs to be filled out whether you're voting electronically, whether you are voting with a paper ballot. As long as you plan not to be here for the actual meeting itself, this needs to be filled out. Why? Well, it needs to be filled out because HOA rules only validate an election and consider it to be quote-unquote legal if we have got a minimum number of homeowners that have participated either via proxy or live and in person. So basically, long story short, just fill it out, bring it up to the front desk. You will either hand it to somebody there or there will be a little box. That's still in question. But bring it up, submit it, and your participation will be counted. So the next topic is who are we voting for? In this little package, you're going to get a little two papers. One is going to have pictures of all the candidates. One is going to have their names and the official ballot. As of the most recent Meet the Candidates meeting, you all know that we did have one candidate that had to withdraw. Bill Spencer is no longer going to participate in the election, and he did provide us all with a very valid explanation of personal reasons that he had to withdraw. So unfortunately, we don't have him on the ballot, but you still have 7 other strong candidates to consider. And I just want to make everybody aware that even if you still vote for Bill on your paperwork, it is only your loss because your vote will not be counted. It will be thrown out. Bill is not going to come back, even if it is by demand. So if you really want to vote for 3 people, don't waste your vote by voting for somebody who has withdrawn. So vote your heart, choose 3 people. If you want to vote electronically, it is very easy. I can vouch for that. I have done that in the past. You will get an email, you will register, you will click on there. If you have voted electronically in the past, you don't even need to register. You will get your ballot there and simply go out and vote. If you would like to vote via paper, no shame in that. Just go ahead and check the boxes. Again, bring it up to the front desk and submit it. The last thing that we have to cover is this amendment that we have. And if you are unaware of this amendment, I don't want this to scare you because it is very detailed, and I will read you the description right now so that we are on the same page as I'm discussing it. This amendment language restricts homeowners from renting their home within the first 12 months of ownership. There is an exception to allow a current homeowner who occupies their home as a homestead to purchase and rent one additional property during the initial 12 months of ownership. So I'm going to try to simplify that for you. Basically, that first sentence, the amendment language restricts homeowners from renting their home within the first 12 months of ownership. As of right now, there is no restriction on purchasing a home in Del Webb, Orlando, and renting it out, never living in it. So if you vote in favor of the amendment, you're going to vote that we are no longer allowed to do so. We are no longer allowed to purchase a home and rent it out immediately. We would have to live in that home for 1 year. So as an example, if your neighbor's house is for sale right now and you are concerned about who your new neighbors will be, the way it stands without this amendment, you could have an individual purchase that home. You could have a corporation purchase that home. You could have aliens from Mars purchase that home. And any of those new owners would be allowed to do with it whatever they please. They could either move in, so if you saw the spaceship landing, you would know they decided to move in, or they could choose to rent it to somebody starting on day one. If you don't want that to happen, all we're going to suggest you do is that you vote in favor of the amendment. If you are someone sitting there saying, well, I'm an owner here and maybe I want to buy another home in here to invest, so maybe I should vote against this amendment, that is what this second sentence does, is it kind of grandfathers you in. So there is an exception to allow a current homeowner who occupies their home as a homestead. So if you're currently living in Del Webb full-time as your homestead, you would be allowed to purchase and rent one additional property during the initial 12 months of ownership. So that doesn't mean you have to pick up all your stuff and move it to the new house and live there for a year. No, you could live in your existing home and you could rent it out. So in either of those situations, voting for the amendment would mean that you could, as an owner, purchase and rent it out, but nobody else could. If you vote against the amendment, it means that everything will stay the same as it is right now. So that's basically simplifying those 3 pieces of paperwork that you are more than welcome to read through, and then email me if I'm wrong. But I have it on good authority that I'm not. So hopefully I covered that sufficiently. In the end, all we want to do at the Communications Advisory Committee is encourage you to go vote. Vote for 3 candidates if you support 3 candidates. Vote for 1 candidate if you support 1 candidate. Vote your heart. Fill out your proxy. Make sure your vote is counted as a participatory vote. Your vote will still be counted. You're just relying on everybody else in the neighborhood to fill out the proxy if you don't do it. So we just want everything to be valid. We don't want to have to go through this again anytime soon with this mail out and all that other stuff. So submit your proxy, submit your ballot, either electronically or by paper, and be sure you understand this amendment that you're voting on. For Val Nasser behind the camera, this is Sharon Conti on behalf of the Communications Advisory Committee with a wrap.